Hi, it is the second Sunday of Advent video today. So I've had a look through the colourways that I've got as my options, and I've decided to stick with the same colourway that's been used in the 4 Sundays of Advent batt, which is this picture that's going to pop up in a minute. So we've got these lovely teals in there, the green more version of the teal. We've got some grey in there, we've got some amber, and we have got this lovely cranberry red colour in there. So we're going to have a little play around with that. I'm using a merino and gold stelina base. I thought it'd be perfect, especially when you've got this. If you look in the picture, just in the grey, there is actually a little bit of gold outlining, and I thought it would be perfect as well to sort of enhance on the amber colour that's in there. So I have chosen some colours that I'm going to put in now. I'm going for a very soft grey. I've got 2 shades of a green teal, and I'm using a chili red and a softer orange colour just to help enhance it all together. I may change my mind when we flip the yarn over in a bit as to whether I'm going to do some speckling instead, but we'll play it by ear as we go along. It may be very similar to the one that I did last Sunday, but this is going to have different colours in there, and I've laid the wool out slightly different for the moment because I need to bank up the wool to catch colours. So I'll tilt you down so we can see what we're up to. So here we go. Okay, so I've banked out the yarn. I've literally grabbed it. Well, I'll show you what I did. I'll just try and find the center. So we get the yarn, and I quite literally place it at one end, place it at the other end, and then just grab sections and make sure it's all sitting pretty even, no gaps in between, so it's quite flat, and fluff that up a little bit and create a bank, and here as well. Make sure that the wool's all evenly distributed, so that hopefully the intention is that it doesn't leak anywhere while I'm waiting for the dye to get in and saturate. But up here at the top, we want the other colours to sort of try and sit here for a little bit, and then I'll swish them around, and then they can bleed in little sections. So I'm going to go in with the grey first. I'm going to put the grey in the middle, like so. And I've got 2 pots of that. I've come pre-armed this week. Dyeing yarn to dyeing roving is totally different experience. I've not put the citric acid in yet. I just want to get this layered up. So next we've got my cranberry red, and I'm going to pour that in up the top end like so. It is going to bleed in, that's fine. And we've got a more rusty darker tone of this orange, and I'm going to shush that about because I don't want it to penetrate too far into the grey, but we want a nice little collection of colourway coming in. There we go. So because we've got these whiter sections, I may do a little bit of speckling in there, but it's looking really quite good so far. There we go. I might add a little, I've got a tiny bit more red. I might just do a little bit more. That'll do. And we will let this heat up. I will get my citric acid now and sprinkle some over the top, and then we'll do what we did last time. Once the dye struck, we'll flip it over once it's cooled down, and we will do the next colours on the reverse. And we're just going to sprinkle that over the top like so. I always get asked how much I use. Well, I use this. It's a coffee measure, you know, for your coffee machines, that sort of thing. That's what I use for sprinkling out my the citric acid. But it's probably the equivalent to a heaped teaspoon, or about 5 grams. I don't go over top with the citric acid, because if I need more I can add more. Okay, so we're just going to wait for this to do its thing. I've got 2 of my colours already, but one of them I want to reduce a little bit more in colour saturation. So I've got this one here. I'm going to just put that in that pot there, half of it, and I want to water it down a little bit to make a lighter tone. So remember, your white is your water. It will help reduce the colour pigment in that dye pot. So do that like that there. And then I have got, where is it? Is it this one? Cayenne red. I've done that one. I'm going to go with some sage leaf in the other one. Just add a little bit of pigment in there, just to see if I create a different colourway. Add that to that. And I think I'll make up another batch of grey for the other side. And I've got my tongs. So this is heating up nicely. Like so. So I'm quite happy with that. I'm just going to spread it out a little bit, and I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of citric acid into there. How are we doing on colour? Yeah, that's nearly saturated. And a little bit in here. So I'm just spreading out where the dye is not very strong. And there's my, let me see. This one. And up above here. You just sprinkle just a tipsy bit. Like that, and there. And then I've got some saffron spice. I'm just going to turn the heat down a bit, because when you're doing the sprinkling you really don't want any action going on in the water, if you can help it. So I'm just going to sprinkle a little of this dark orange, and up on this section here. Up on like that. And I'm going to turn the dish around in a second. I'm just going to go wipe my hands. Use an old towel, and I'm just going to turn this around. Oh, there's a little bit of fluff in there. Don't know where that came from. And let that section there with the red, it looks very, very orange here, but it's a chili red. So I'm just going to leave that like that for a moment. Let the heat strike up the top. It is nearly all done up there, but you don't want to move this around too much when you've just done speckling. And then I'll wait for that to set. Shouldn't take too much time. I'll just turn up a tiny little bit. I do need the water to be really clear to be able to flip it over, otherwise I'll have to change the water out, which is a bit of a menace if that's the case. But it's clear up there. I just want to put a little bit of heat into this red section to make sure the dye has set and then I'll leave it to cool for a little minute, and then we'll flip it over and we will do the teal on the other side with a darker grey as well, is what I'm thinking. And then we'll do a little bit more speckling if we've got any white zones, but we will use the cayenne red and the orange that we used on this side for a reverse speckle on the other side. So I think that's just about done. So I'll come back to you in a minute once it's cooled down and it's cool enough for me to be able to flip the yarn around. But that's really quick to do. That's 10 minutes of me just talking about it and getting it going. Less is more when it comes to dye. I always think you can always add, if you want more, a darker, richer colour, but I just want these lovely hints of colours. And in the shine on the picture you can see there's still sections which are very pale and not really strong diluted colours. Sorry, very strong influence of colours. So I'll catch you in a bit. Okay, so the water should be cool enough now, so I'm just going to flip this over like so. Lift that up, push that over there, make sure the grey section again is back in the middle, like that. That'll do. And again, like so. Now I'm going to put the grey that I did earlier on over the orange. This time, and then I'm going to use my darker teal wash over the middle this time, and the paler version up here. Right, I'm going to get this going straight off. You want that to strike in as quick as possible. Like that. Give it a bit of a shuggle. Let that warm up, and then we'll put a little bit of speckling over the top of that. And I think I was going to go with some silvers on this side. I'm just going to look for some now. There we are. Just look for a few. I want navy. Silver grey, I think, and then a little bit of the cayenne red once that heat strikes in there. So as I say, we don't want it bubbling, but I do need that too. So I'm going to put some of this to little flecks, hopefully. And then a darker shade of grey flecks on there as well. I'll put some of that over the teal area. Some sections up here where the red is, like so. I think that's enough. I don't want to overdo it or I might lose the colours that we've added in. So that's, I'm quite happy with that now. We'll let that just warm up. I don't need to add any more citric acid to it neither. I'm quite happy with the way that's looking. That drugs a little rinse out while I'm waiting, and then that will go in the soak in the sink for about half an hour, and then I'll dry that and I will come back to you tomorrow with the dried results and the 4 Sundays of Advent batt and the gifts that have been included in this year's day 2. So I'll catch you on the other side. Okay, bye for now. So what do you think? There is the result of a day 2 of Sundays of Advent. You got these lovely orangey colours coming on in here. There's the black speckling that we added, well, the dark grey speckling. There's a little bit of orange speckling in there, and you've got the soft greys in the yarn to help create that sort of dusky feeling. And there's the skein rolled up and the grey there. So yeah, it's turned out really, really nice. What do you think? So what I'll do now is I will go and get the batt that goes with this, and we'll put them both together so you can get an idea of both of the options that were available this year for the 4 Sundays of Advent. There we go. So there is the 4 Sundays of Advent art batt, and you can see the same hues and colours are all added in with that. It's always going to look different in comparison to the yarn, but if you want it to spin the batt and work it with the yarn that's there, that would make a lovely pairing. Absolutely gorgeous. So with this batt, you have got hand-dyed Shetland, Corriedale, 23 micron count merino, red Erie silk, mulberry silk, tweedy viscose, Cheshire silk and bamboo Polworth blend is in there as well. The yarn that we've got here is merino, I think 70% merino, 20% nylon and 10% gold stelina. If I go in close, you'll be able to see the gold stelina. Like I said, I wanted to have the gold stelina in this one because it was in the silver pebble in the top corner of the image. So if you want to see the blending of the art batt, you will find that on day 5 of the 12 days of Advent in a couple of weeks time, which will be following from Christmas Day onwards. You'll be able to see that being blended. It's really, really lovely, and I'm really pleased with how they've come out. In these days, gifts you'll get included is a wooden and brass needle holder. That's for your sewing needles, solid wood, handmade, and then this little tape measure, and this little gadget is a needle threader. Can you see that little hook that comes out there? And then on the other side is a stitch blocker. I thought this year it'd be really great just to have some bits and pieces that you lose throughout the year, and it's always handy to have them. And who doesn't need somewhere to store their sewing needles? You can fit the chunky knitting sewing needles in there as well, the yarn needles, so it's not a problem at all. So that's it for this week, and I'll catch you next Sunday on the 3rd Sunday of Advent. I hope you enjoy these videos. Don't forget to hit that thumbs up. It's free to do, and subscribe if you don't already, and hit that bell notifications on the subscribe drop down box. That just really helps me get better on YouTube and get more notifications to people that I'm around, and you'll be alerted next Sunday when the next video is up to watch. So again, take care for now, and I will see you soon. Bye.